This channel finally surpassed 1,300 subscribers, and I think now is the perfect excuse to reintroduce myself. And with all of our combined efforts, we are Jakel, the half-orc supreme. As Jakel started off as a character that we made in Dungeons & Dragons 5e. And when I was looking for a social media mascot, if you will, when I started making content here at the end of 2007, I found Jakel to use and utilize as a mascot and an alter ego. There's a reason I call myself the world's worst YouTuber. And one of the negative comments that I received was somebody calling me the world's worst YouTuber. And I just kind of wore that title, the world's worst YouTuber, with a badge of honor. Because I have been broke, I am still broke, and I will probably continue to be broke. I had fallen in love with YouTube because I've been watching it since 2007. All of these things sort of pushed for more professionality to be incorporated into YouTube content if people were to make a career out of their YouTube channels. My title, the world's worst YouTuber, feels a little bit like a proud middle finger to all of that. And even though most sensible people would have either given up or outright quit by now, I just haven't. So yeah, if you want to see some of the content that I've done in the past and see me talk about it and point some of those videos out, come along, let's go do that. Now this is where we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the channel tour. And I'm starting from the oldest videos. The first two that I have up were a Halloween special, which was a vlog, and clearly I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And clearly, oh my god, there were so many problems. This is not the persona. This was before I figured out who Jakel was or who Jakel was supposed to be. Immediately following that, we've got trying random snack foods, because again, at one point, I was incredibly influenced by Shane, and I wanted to make content, so I just started looking around. I was like, I could do a food tasting video, and it's lame. And I took notes from my own self-criticism, and did just a little bit better with the Tasting Coffee Creamers, Volume 1. There were 3, now there's only 2. And I wanted to do them again, and I'm not sure why. And then here we go, talking about hate moshing and angry rant, and there were some people that didn't like that, which brought about one of my How Dare You videos. You remember how earlier in the video I was talking about having done a 12 Days of Christmas series? Yeah, there's only 2 of them left, because I really enjoyed the snacks tasting one. And then this is just a fun, dumb, non-serious, mostly satirical take suggesting that Santa Claus is part of the Illuminati, and that Santa Claus is actually Krampus, or Krampus and Santa Claus are just 2 sides of the same person. Yeah, it's silly, it's goofy, and I was just doing a lot of emulating MatPat, if nothing else. And then there's my first coffee review. The player 1, Leroy Jenkins! Oh my god. Being emo in the 2000s, Revenge of the Mall. You know what? Hang on.
Revenge of the Mall?
We're gonna go here, and we're going to do this fun little thing where we private the shit. Alright, this was one that I actually took a lot of time putting together, which is The Illuminati, A Brief History, talking a little bit about the Bavarian Illuminati, how it came to be, how it disbanded, and how this became sort of introduced into the world of conspiracy theory. I used to spend a lot of time learning about conspiracy theories, not necessarily because I believed in them, but because I thought they were entertaining. And then I realized, oh, it's just anti-Semitism. So I had hoped that by making that video, it would bring light to how silly some of these things are and how contrived and misinformed, and it went fucking nowhere. And then there's my second, trying more coffee creamer. And around that time is really when I stopped making content. Like, I quit, tried making a couple, because of the negative feedback from the 12 Days of Christmas series, I was just so burnt out. Like, I had pushed myself really hard. I had done just so much, literally too much is what I did. Not just for YouTube, but in my own personal life, and I got burnt out, and I just had to not. And then at some point there was a video where I was saying, I'm gonna do this, and I'm ready to start doing it again. And I don't know if I deleted it or if it is privated, but for some reason, like, the way that I presented myself in that video was not the trajectory that I wanted to take my channel. I just wanted to make mention that there was an announcement there that I was going to come back. And I did. Which had a lot to do with surviving the hardcore scene. We're gonna watch this real quick. At least part of it.
Ain't me in the hate breed pit, pussy. Meet me in the hate breed pit, pussy.
Oh my god,
hey
I was
everybody, welcome back to my channel.
So chubby.
I'm your host, Jakel, Half-Orc Supreme. Today, it's really...
If you can't tell, this is a character which kinda later on evolved into the Ebon Bathory character, the part metal elitist about black magic that I've done on TikTok and in some of my videos here. Well, let me tell you what. This was like the prototype for that character. And just
difficult for somebody to be a real metalhead, especially going to local shows. Today, I'm going to give you a tutorial about how to survive a local show, especially if you're playing at one of those shows, and still maintain your brutal edge.
I was definitely, mind you, this was also before I came out as non-binary or trans feminine, and I was at a point where I was a stay-at-home parent at the time, and I was getting to this point where I was just fed up with that being all I was and all of who I had become. I had lost track of myself and forgot about what I even wanted to begin with, and YouTube sort of became that escape so I could live vicariously through these characters and the things I was talking about. This was, yeah, let's just... Well, let me skip ahead without an ad.
If you want to throw everybody through a loop, wear some swim trunks. Because they're nice, they're cool, they're comfortable, you don't have to wear underwear. They'll keep you cool in the warm conditions, and they're not fucking gym shorts. Now, considering foot apparel.
Basically, it is this character telling everybody who is a metalhead how to survive the hardcore scene. On one hand, I am making fun a little bit of myself as I was several years before this, but then I was making fun of myself at the same time, sort of making fun of just these silly sentiments that people wind up saying and sharing. So if that fits your interests, yeah, I spent how long? 14 minutes with this character telling people how to survive the hardcore scene. Yep. And here we go with the first time I asked the question, am I a neckbeard? I really got back into H3H3, and it was actually watching and just binging H3's content that got me off of my bum and back in front of the camera. But in this same period, there were a few videos that I did. Namely, I'm thinking of, I called it a mental health PSA, just sort of like taking on some of the popular misinformation about mental health and just airing my grievances. And then another one was my beef with Star Wars fanboys, because I was just so pissed off that some of these motherfuckers had the audacity to bully Kelly Marie Tran off of the internet because they didn't like the character she portrayed in The Last Jedi, Rose Tico. God, those might be worth revisiting at some point, because I didn't delete them. They're privated. They're somewhere here. But again, it just kind of goes back in line with that whole thing of, like, that's not what I wanted to do with my channel after a while because it was clear that I was just emulating Ethan Klein a little too much, which is exactly why I did the Am I a Neckbeard? Which brings us right to the martial weapons demonstration. And this is me demonstrating the martial weapons.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm your host, Jakel, the world's worst YouTuber.
There it is.
In one of my most previous videos, I asked the question, am I a neckbeard? So, I realized that I left something out that was very crucial to the neckbeard persona. And that was weapons. Weapons. Not only do I have weapons, but that I know how to use them properly.
I don't know what the fuck. Something about the neckbeard thing and then the proto-Ebon Bathory character just converged into this. And the problem is, it was not well received because I used all of the martial arts hashtags like martial demonstrations and stuff like that. But this is a bit. Even though we can see me clearly, obviously knowing how to use them.
And make sure that if you're going to turn around, bring your foot back here.
My God. I know I'm still heavy, but I'm proud of my weight journey.
So, let's see if I can do that without speaking through
it. Thumbnail moment.
Man, I should have stretched before I did this. All right.
I'm not sure if this is obvious by now, but this is very much my own brand of humor. I don't know if this would be funny to anybody else. Now, immediately after the martial weapons demonstration, a couple of weeks later, we wind up moving. So there's, I think, about a month between the martial weapons demonstration and the how to look like a rock star. And this sort of point in my life where I'm trying to re-embrace myself as opposed to being just a parent, I realized I had lost quite a bit of weight because I was big. Like, I'm still not thin, but I was big, if you did not notice from the last video. But I realized that some of the clothes that I had tucked away because they were too small fit again. And in that joy and elation, I was able to sort of like reclaim a part of me. So I turned it into a video. You know, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but I want to look at a quick little snippet of it because I was unusually proud of it. My God.
Man, this is a nice view. I'm fucking digging this.
I missed that couch. I loved that couch.
Because, frankly, in today's society, as much as I might dislike it and despise it entirely, looks matter. So, let's choose our outfit for this particular show.
Oh my God! Wow. Also, that's my own video, or my own music, that we made years ago. That's now the theme music for Jakel. And yes, this is supposed to be inspired by Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Oh my God, I forgot I had that shirt. It's gone now. But there was another character that I started playing with at the end of this. Let's take a look at that. Oh yeah, but by the end of the video, I wind up just playing guitar. I'm like, you need to get show ready. You need to actually give a shit about things. And what winds up happening is I play guitar for my toddler child and his stuffies. Kind of adorable. And then this, the Blondie Licks, the washed up 80s guitarist from the Crimson Lips. Again, making fun of my father more than anything.
Yeah. It's been a few years, man.
What the fuck? Crimson lips, what does it mean? It's a euphemism. It's a euphemism, definitely. For what? Vagina. It's a euphemism for vagina. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. Yeah, man, no, I definitely got over my coke addiction, man. I mean, if you want, you can check my credit cards. I mean, if you really want, helps you feel better about it. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, man.
My kid's in the background laughing.
You mean I can't smoke in here?
I never smoked in the house.
Lame, dude. Fucking lame.
It was a joke.
Oh, that's what Marty said, is it? That's what Marty said. You know what? You can tell Marty to shove it up his butt. Yes, I realize my titty is hanging out. I don't care that it's not flattering. I mean, what's the big deal about man titty anyway? It's not, man. It's not. Just fucking get over it.
Alright, now here we are at this sort of self-reclamation journey, if you will, and I'm thinking about music, and I want to start talking about music, and there was one that I put up because Vinnie Paul Abbott had died, and I wanted to do a tribute thing. I collected some metal magazines, and he had this advice column that was in these, so I read those off as a nice little tribute thing. And then I started to realize that Pantera was just icky, and yeah, eventually I took that down. But I got so anxious about the weird feedback that I was going to get from these metalheads that I made this video. Am I metal enough? A critical analysis. I should probably change that to a critical analysis on metal elitism, which is probably what that should have been, but I wind up sharing this whole anecdotal series of stories, and that's my first attempt at video essay, by the way, and I was so self-conscious that even in the beginning of the video, I am apologizing for the poor quality of the video. But it was also a good example of me being able to sort of like use the bloopers to my advantage and just roll with what was going on. So if you want to see me criticize and talk about how silly metal elitism is, then go for it. And then rolling on this train, I had, like, look at the views on these videos. They're in the 70s, okay? And some of these, 98, 39, 52, 24, still at this point, dreadful interaction and engagement. So I didn't have any of my own videos to really take comments from. So Stevie T, aka Stephen Terraberry, received a lot of backlash for criticizing Five Finger Death Punch. And I just went through those comments for no good reason, not knowing what the fuck I was doing, and come to find out, hindsight's 2020, I was mismedicated. It was having an interesting effect on me. And then that sort of led directly into this idea to rebrand myself as the half-orc of heavy metal, which was a demonstrably bad idea. And I decided against it, but I had filmed and edited this entire video. Oh, wow. I went to upload it, and then I'm like, this isn't the direction I want to take my content. This isn't what I want to do. What has gotten into me? Mind you, at this time, I didn't realize I was a DID system. I didn't realize that I was on the spectrum. And because these things weren't understood, I was prescribed Adderall and bupropion at the same time. And those things together with the neurodivergencies that were present, I just sobered up one morning and said, no, not this. So I made this video talking about, you know what, what I want to do. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do, but that's not what I wanted to do. And this was the first time that I really sat down and addressed myself as a person other than Jakel.
This was the first time that I separated Jakel from myself and went like, hi, I am the person. Oh my god, in that video I still use my dead name. Oh, we still use the dead name then. Oh, that's uncomfy. Do I want to take it down? We'll figure it out later. Now, I took about 2 months off, or was it like 6 weeks, something like that. I took a mental health break, and even though I had taken time off to rest and relax, things in my personal life were getting interesting. My relationship wasn't doing so well. Everything was catching up with me. The burnout was at an all-time high. I was misdiagnosed, and all kinds of shit was just going wrong, and it didn't get a whole lot better until I had this wild and crazy idea to revive an old character. Now, I'm not going to get into it now. One of the names that I used to use for myself as an alter before I was the host of my system was Darren. But I used that name because he was a character, my first OC, if you will. And that name sort of stuck for far too long, even for myself identifying with that name and then later on with that character, because Surface Brain couldn't tell the difference. But I, recognizing this as a character, revived that character for the sake of establishing an egoverse. And boy, oh boy, those videos don't exist. There was a 6-part series that I made that was Story of a Boy, where this character was telling the story of me. And it wasn't accurate. It was sort of like to explain how Darren came to be. And it got really fucking weird. Long story short, this Darren project wasn't just on screen. It was also something that I was doing in my own personal life, which ultimately amounted to what we now know as shadow work. And boy, oh boy, that was more trouble than it was worth. So those videos don't exist anymore. But at some point during my break, I took my time by coping and watching everything that internet comment etiquette had.
Okay, I think this is the best angle I'm gonna get. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm your host Jakel, the world's worst YouTuber. Today, I wanted to try something different. See, I'm a dedicated student of Eric over at Internet Comment Etiquette. There, he teaches us how to leave proper and respectful comments on the internet. I am dedicating today's video as a testament to Eric's wisdom and teachings. I am going to demonstrate here what I have learned from Sensei Salvia. Now, in order to properly emulate one of Sifu Eric's lessons, I'm going to have to resort to some crude and rudimentary means to demonstrate what it is that I have learned, such as using a screen recording app on my phone. Let me demonstrate.
The one saving grace that I have with this app is that it captures audio as I record. I don't even need a mic. This entire video was another exercise in me just doing way too fucking much. Because I had to use all kinds of different things for like screen recording apps, and I had to script the thing just that way I knew what to do when typing things out and then reading it off on some other app. But I gave it my all. I put my whole skadoosie into it. But I was able to because I took my time. This took me like 6 weeks to film and edit and put together. Between like start to finish, watching all of Eric's content, scripting the entire goddamn thing, finding the right apps to use in order to emulate this, and then the editing. Oh my god. Let's watch just a little bit more.
Which is really convenient because I don't have one. Also, I can't type and speak at the same time, so that part will be a tad bit off as well. Now let's get out of this vertical screen. This isn't IGTV now.
Wow, that did not age well. That did not age well. This was before TikTok. This was before anybody gave a shit about Musical.ly, which is what TikTok was beforehand, I think. Oh my god, and everybody was just riffing on IGTV because everybody was, using their phones like this to watch content, not like this. So IGTV, which would later become Instagram Reels, everybody was shitting on because you had to do it like this. But they were ahead of the curve. They knew what they were getting into. That being said, wow, that joke did not age well.
This is YouTube, silly. Let's see. Here we go. The best tool for any of Salvia's students. Twitter.
Now, I'm going to do something that some might think to be very risky. I really wouldn't recommend doing this unless you really want to prove that you got balls of steel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just paste whatever's in my clipboard into my Twitter, and I'm going to tweet whatever is already in there. Let's see what happens.
All right now, and paste. Oh, hey, look. It's a tweet to Ted Cruz.
This is only funny if you're familiar with Sensei Salvia's content, because he's always harassing Ted Cruz on Twitter. That being said, this whole thing, I go through and just do way too much. And it even gets very meta at a certain point where I come face to face with an alternate reality version of myself who had continued to start emulating Ethan Klein. Oh my god, there is a whole speech about, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it. So what if I get trolled? So what if I get ridiculed? At least I can say that I went down swinging and I tried. I fucking tried. And oh my god, I hype myself up every time. But yeah, no, this one is very emotionally attached for me. And I very much enjoy it still to this day. But at the same time, it's very my humor. There are a whole bunch of pop culture and niche references that obviously some of them are out of date. Like, they did not, some of these jokes didn't fucking age well. Like the story of the one time that I got eye raped by a gay tree frog. And now we have the Great Pumpkin vlog, Just Jakel. And my ex and my kid are in it, and I don't know if I want to leave this one up. The reason I left it up is because the entire thing is about finding a pumpkin to carve. But I also don't want to have my kid in my content, and also my ex is in it, and also, God, there's just so many mixed feelings. I was doing content, I wanted to vlog, and clearly I did not keep up with that kind of content. And also that same pumpkin is in The Halloween Hangover. Another one that I very much enjoyed putting together. I enjoyed it so much that 3 different videos came out of it. We have The Halloween Hangover, the time-lapse face paint of Papa Emeritus III, and then the full version of Chaz Splasberry's Halloween dance competition. And this was all during the Darren project, so the character of Darren is in these videos. So, after that, I took some time, and at the time, I wasn't, I was spiritual, I practiced a little bit of witchcraft, practiced a little bit of magic, mostly it was spiritualism, and it was a clusterfuck. My spiritual practice was not nearly as refined then as it is now. But suffice it to say, I was really invested in the Satanic Temple and learning about LaVeyan Satanism at the time. So when The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina came out, and we had the Baphomet statue in the front room of the school of the Church of Night, there were a whole bunch of people that were upset that the Satanic Temple was suing Netflix over the Baphomet. The problem was not that Baphomet was in Sabrina. It's that particular version of Baphomet was contracted via the Satanic Temple, and that very specific likeness was copyrighted by them. That's it. Like, and that's video. I'm taking on that topic. And then shortly after that, oh boy, we're entering a completely different era. First of all, Santa Claus is a Time Lord. I've been a Whovian this whole time. Santa Claus is a Time Lord. I'm not going to click on it. We're just kind of like trying to speed run some of this stuff at this point. Santa is a Time Lord. How many times have I said that already? I put forth this fun little theory that Santa Claus is a Time Lord, and the only problem that I really have with it is that my kid was sleeping in the other room, so I had to be quiet, and then the volume is also quiet. But I think it's a nice, fun, neat, little cute thing if you want to go check it out. And then we start the orc logs. I had no idea what I was doing. I wanted this Jakel orc brand to really stick, but people, like, it, I don't think it was working. And also, these first two orc logs aren't really vlogs. Well, not in a current or modern sense of vlog. I'm sitting there talking to the camera, just talking about life and the things that I've been doing and getting into. That's it. Nothing special. And then the first time, this, how dare you criticize hate moshing? Where somebody was so upset about the hate moshing and angry rant. And I'm just like, no, fuck you. There's valid reasons to criticize hate moshing, such as you are making it so venues don't want to host shows. And when those venues, because they're being damaged as a result of crowd killing, then those venues aren't going to book the bands that you say that you care about. It's hurting the bands, it's hurting the music, it's hurting the scene. And I'm going to stand by that. Like, if there's a little off section for hardcore dancers to be over here and swinging their fists, and everybody can just make space for them, cool, that's fine. Let them knock each other out. But the crowd killing and the hate moshing, where people are just jumping in and punching the shit out of innocent bystanders, that's fucked up. That's it. If you want to see me spend 30 minutes talking about that, go ahead. How dare you criticize hate moshing? And then we got the Holiday Hangover, another one where it's kind of like an ego verse, but it's just different characters and it's a skit-based comedy, like the Halloween Hangover. And we get into an interesting era. The third orc log and the fourth orc log, I wind up taking a different turn with that content because I wanted to get up and be animated and stand in front of the camera and move around and actually be animated. And at the time, since Destry had not been canceled and outed as a predatory freak, they were very inspired by Destry. So this third orc log and this fourth orc log, very much like in this fourth orc log, I think, where you can really tell how much fucking weight I'd lost. Wow, goddamn. I'm thinner then than I am now. Back to the point. This fourth orc log was the first time that I ever had the idea or the inclination that, oh my god, subscribe to PewDiePie. I explained myself in that video because I was a fan of PewDiePie at the time. I no longer support him, but I at least explained myself. That was the first time that I said that talking about spiritual shit might be fun, but I didn't want to do it like other content creators, and that's still kind of the point I'm at now. Then we have the first... Excuse you. Then we got coffee tasting, just a random coffee that I tried. Now here's the interesting part. I gotta... Hang on. I was talking a bit earlier about how I was having mental health issues, partly because of hindsight, it was misdiagnosis and mismedication, and I was getting carried away because the meds that I was prescribed, they had switched out the bupropion with sertraline. And I was still on Adderall with undiagnosed autism, but the diagnosed ADHD, which is why they gave me Adderall to begin with,
And because of what I was going through, I was starting to recall my childhood trauma, and this just coalesced into this fucked up situation where almost at the very beginning of 2019, I start experiencing genuine psychosis. Which is why in the witchy sphere, when we talk about calling people delusional or saying that people are crazy, in the spiritual psychosis conversation, this shit hits me personally, and I take personal offense because there's a difference between spiritual phenomenon and mental health phenomenon, and to the outside observer, you cannot tell. And if you're not a trained professional, you can't tell. And my psychosis took 10 months out of my life because I was misdiagnosed and mismedicated, and my own trauma was starting to bubble to the surface because of the shadow work that I was doing with the Darren Project. And at this point, I had officially stopped the Darren Project. So this chunk of time, I tried my goddamnedest to keep making content, even though I was going through it, and I was just burnt out, and then everything just sucked. Everything just fucking sucked. I was going to therapy and I was trying to figure out what was going on with the mental health thing, and I was upfront with my therapist and my prescriber about everything, and not much really changed it. Not even later on in the year when I was on 2 different antipsychotics. This from the coffee tasting right here, let's say just somewhere in between these 2 videos, all the way until this Q&A with Jakel, it was very much, that's what I was dealing with. And that's why, oh my god, this new age spirituality, because part of the this part of the psychosis was spiritual psychosis, absolutely. And because I was suffering psychosis, and got back into the new age circles, I got really carried away and got involved into some belief structures that I didn't need to be a part of, until one day I realized this is a cult without a figurehead. So if you see my TikTok content where I'm just railing against new age spirituality, all of the love and light bullshit and the light being extraterrestrials shit, yeah, no, no, I started my hate train for it then. But then over here we have the deep web box opening. It's all just satirical. It's funny, silly, haha bullshit. I'm making fun of the deep web box opening videos that were silly, hokey, and contrived deep web box openings. And then we tried Death with Coffee for the first time, and I did not do too well with that one. That did not turn out super great. And then I had the Orklog 5 talking about camo shorts, taking Taekwondo classes, and don't fucking put Death Wish through an espresso machine, because I got sick. Very fucking sick. And then this one was a reaction to a friend's band, Oppressed Affliction. And this one got, because of the mental health issues, this one got put up for so long before I was actually able to get around to it. And then we've got Orklog 6, 7, 8, and not Orkloginator 900, because I was making fun of my own goddamn haircut. Oh yeah, because at some point during the psychotic episode, I shaved my hair. This is the growth that's come out since then. And somewhere in here I said, nope, fuck all this shit, fuck the spirits, fuck the everything, and these meds aren't helping. I made a very ill-advised move, and I took myself off of all of the meds because it wasn't helping. So maybe if I detox and get my own head on straight, it would help. And it did. And then I took a grippy sock vacation. So, while I was on my 3-day grippy sock vacation, I decided to resolve within myself, like, I can't keep doing this spiritual psychosis thing. I need to shove this out, put it in a box, and fuck off with everything. This is getting me nowhere in my life, and I am going to fight back if I have to. I already had been fighting back, but fighting back was making it worse. So I just needed to ignore it and not engage at all. And I sort of reclaimed this passion to actually do YouTube. And this I usually consider to be the beginning of this reboot era where I just let go of all the things that I wanted to do, the things that I thought I was going to get around to, and just clean slate everything. And then after that, oh my god. So this is like, the Q&A was to be a reintroduction, and nobody asked me questions. I came up with my own questions. So this Monster Bites snack video, 25 views, stellar. It really set the groundwork for the future coffee reviews that I would do, where I'm just sitting down, the camera is across the kitchen, and I'm just doing the thing as I'm doing it. And I didn't do another video like this, but I leave it up there because it's the predecessor to the other coffee reviews. Then we got the Halloween Hangover Part 2, which, in my opinion, is the least strong of the 4 skit videos that I have, because we got the 3 Halloween hangovers and then the 1 holiday hangover. And I said, this is Orc Log 10, 2 years on YouTube, the last Orc Log. Well, that was a fucking lie. Oh my gosh. So then we get to Jakel posted to r/roast me. Because the thing is, I had just dyed my hair red. And for a long time, I was still having very emotional responses to negative feedback. So I sort of wanted to temper myself in raw sewage. And it helped a lot. So if you want to see the way I got roasted, go ahead. There it is. So then the first reaction video was it was reacting to an old video that I was a part of in high school with friends, just to show like, hey, this is something that I've always wanted to do, and also, oh my god, oh my boy, oh geez, it's been a long time. So then, because I now had this reaction with the program that I could utilize the way that I'm doing it now, I start reacting to old school YouTube videos, and I wasted 20 minutes going down memory lane with Power Thirst, the Llama Song, and the Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny, and I think one of them got copyright claimed, which was fucking rude. I'm still salty about it. Then we had a follow-up, which was videos that changed my life. And I react to the ASDF movie, which was the main basis for the skit style of the Hangover videos. Then we got the ADHD Chipmunk 2, which I also used in a bit in the Internet Comment Etiquette Dedicated Student. And then IDEK 9.5 by Destry. And in that video, I'm saying good things about Destry. I no longer support Destry Smith. Let's get that straight. There's a lot of love for both Shane and Destry throughout some of my content. But keep in mind, this is shit that was in the past before I knew what I know about them now. I'm trying to speed run through things because it's already taking longer than I had wanted to, but I do these 3 videos, which is, there is a satire parody black metal band, true Norwegian black metal from Finland, and they are the Black Satans. And this was for the sake of nostalgia, to sort of like, I was still like recovering from the psychosis, even though I was no longer suffering from it still. There was still a lot of trauma that came from 10 months of hell. Guess it was more or less 9 months. I keep saying 10 months. Beside the point. So I wanted to go down memory lane for a bunch of stuff, which is why I did this, and this, and this, and half of these is in that effort to get back to a good place. And going down memory lane with the Black Satans was one of the ways I decided to do that. And then I had the opportunity. That first coffee review was Leroy Jenkins. And I wanted to try out the rest of their stuff. So I announced the Player One Saga, and I do. Their other 3. First Person Smoother, God's Gift to Gamer, and Overclocked Omen. This one I would love the opportunity to redo, just because I was sick. I was sicker than dog shit. I had a sinus infection, and all kinds of stuff was going wrong. I had a fucking The sinus infection had gone so bad that it was going under my skin and poked out through my fucking forehead. I was sick as fuck, so I could have done better and I should have waited. But I got this piece of shit out. And then it was Christmas time. And I finally got into the doctor and got some antibiotics. So I did a whole bunch of Christmas videos because I really wanted to reclaim that nostalgia and sort of redeem myself from the 12 Days of Christmas at the beginning of the channel. And a lot of this is just, we got Christmas snacks again, gingerbread castle, more internet shenanigans, and then getting into the Christmas spirit. I was redoing it from the 2017 because that was one that I did and then taken down. And I'm just telling stories about the things that get me into the Christmas spirit. 2 different reaction videos to Psycho Stick, and then 2, there's a Christmas trivia, and that was also supposed to be a redo, even though it's set up like this. And then more Christmas quizzes. So then I went to see Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. I'm a Star Wars fan. I actually really enjoyed The Last Jedi, though I get some of the criticisms over that movie. And then I had spent 2 years just hearing all of the shit about Star Wars and all of the bad things and just the fandom becoming a self-cannibalizing toxic cesspool, which it kind of always had been, don't get me wrong. But this is just all I'm hearing when, to me, The Last Jedi was one of my favorite Star Wars movies. And then they're doing it again with The Rise of Skywalker. Being greatly inspired by Movies with Mikey as well as Cinema Wins, I tried doing this to show the good qualities, or what I thought was good about the movie. But there was supposed to be a third part that I never got around to. Because then we got the Orc Log 11, the vlog that should not be. Then we have the Ghosts of Halo, which was the first coffee table internet adventure, and boy, it's rough around the edges. The worst part actually is the introduction, because I spend too much time talking about why I'm making this video, what led me to do it, and that I love spooky shit, because I'd never done anything really spooky at all on my channel. I had made attempts and then taken them down, like telling one of my own personal ghost stories, and I just... yeah, no. So, the only problem with this is the intro takes too long. Then we got another one, and I was sick as fuck again. This really is an era and a period. I don't think I need to single all of them out, but there's just this era, and finally I got around to redoing the Player One Coffee Saga, started playing guitar for the audience. This era was just an incredibly successful spurt of creativity and growth, and I loved every second of it. And some part of me, the same way that I wanted to get back to the nostalgic, warm, fuzzy feeling when I first uploaded, there's a part of me now that wants to get back to this, where it wasn't really witchy, it was just me being a YouTuber, and this is the closest that I felt to being a legitimate YouTuber. And then after this, oh my god, this almost 2-hour video on Slender Man, trying to explain what Slender Man is, where I talk about the urban legends and I debunk the... oh my god, it just took so long to talk about Slender Man, and I debunk Slender Man, then go back to suggest that people are still having Slender Man sightings, and if there is actually something out there that people are seeing, what could it be? That's a good one. It's just long. Then, oh my god, at this point I was spending a lot of time on Reddit, and there was a lot of support each other, small-time YouTuber type of subreddits, and this young gentleman approaches me virtually and asks to roast each other. He's gonna roast me, and then I'm gonna roast him. And once he releases his roast, I do my research, I go through it, I put it together, and I was very inspired by James Marriott, but man, that video, I feel good about it in many ways, but looking back on it now where I'm at, it wasn't really well organized or put together. The pacing really killed it. There are some parts that I didn't need to go on about, and I did, but I still think it wasn't too terrible. I just understand why there's only 134 views on it.
And the next, how dare you, where I just rant about internet toxicity and just complain about the stupid bullshit that people say to other people on the internet. And then I took a mental health break. Again, I took a break, got caught up, and I tried my best to avoid burnout. And then I came back with a different fucking hair color. My dumb ass, thinking themselves to be somewhat of a meme connoisseur, went and made a meme video. These memes have viral potential. Enjoying Corona beer looking at memes of the coronavirus. Wow. I don't know what the fuck. It's like I took that little break here in this little portion here. It's like the silver hair dye got into my brain and I just stopped thinking. Oh my gosh. And then we had Jakel's St. Patty Day quiz special, where I'm sitting and drinking Jameson mixed with Mountain Dew Zero, taking internet quizzes to test how Irish I am. But hey, that mustache though. Which famous YouTuber is Jakel? And then this one, it's Jakel's favorite funnies, which was supposed to be a little bit like the laugh videos by Jacksepticeye, because I'm not sure if you could tell by all of the Irish and all of the green how incredibly inspired I was by Jacksepticeye. But this was just a fun little thing. I just wanted to share some funny videos, which was a much better idea than the fucking dumbass Corona memes. And that one was better. That one was better. More guitar. And then I tried doing these nostalgia reactions, and it was around this time that I'm reintroduced to my headmates. Because, oh, that's a story for another time. Long story short, I'm sitting down watching Anthony Padilla. I spent a day with 3 DID systems, and by the end of the video, I'm just like, oh! And then I spent most of the next several weeks dissociated and getting to know them, and it took me a while to get back on my feet and get used to being a system. So I made a guitar video, because that was quick and easy. And then I want to do more nostalgia reactions. So we reacted to Charlie the Unicorn and David Blaine's Street Magic. And then we did another coffee review because I very much enjoy the drink. And Jack Daniels is top 5, definitely. So I saw Jack Daniels coffee. I'm like, what the fuck is this about? So I tried it. Let me say, it's not bad coffee, but I don't know if it's worth the price. And then at this point, we get to Siren Head because I'm very much invested in Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and I think even Mudahar, Some Ordinary Gamer, and maybe even Charlie, I'm not sure. There was a bunch of buzz and talk about Siren Head, and I loved the way that things were going and the way that the community was coming together, and it made me think and feel very much like when Slenderman was really popular or when first took off into the internet zeitgeist. So I spent some time talking about Siren Head, but I also made sure to include that Siren Head was created by Trevor Henderson, so at the end of the video we go to look at some of his other work, because that's a big problem where something like that gets wind and fans get carried away. It's really difficult to rein it in. So if there was something I was going to do, I was going to give credit where it was due. And then I start to upload a lot less. Like, I did another Would You Rather, and I just slow down in general. even tried to react to my first video on this channel. And then this was actually the last orc log because I came out as a system, I came out as non-binary, and I said, hey, I'm a witch, and I've always been kind of magical, but now I'm actually dedicating myself to it because Witch Talk is a community, and even though I'm not making content there, I've been surfing that side of TikTok, and it's really cool. And coming out of the broom closet, there are multiple entendres, more than two, so it's not a double entendre. But there are entendres involved with that statement. So then I react to one of the most classic ghost video compilations on YouTube. Then we do a re-review of Death Wish Coffee. And then I fall off entirely because shit got bad again. And let's just say practicing witchcraft and then deity work and trying to figure out what the hell did happen to me, because I got to this point where even though I was a system, I went in learning about DID and OSDD, and even at the time I thought I was an OSDD-1B system, not a DID system, until my therapist points out, no, I don't think that's quite, I think it's full-blown DID. So all of the things that I mentioned, I'm actually diagnosed with. Not that it's anybody's business. But I went in to learn as much as I can, learning from accredited resources, going to my therapist, listening to the voices and the stories of other systems. And even after everything, I'm just like, not everything from last year is explained by dissociation. Some things, yeah. And then one day there they are. The deities. So we're at the point where things slowed down and I realized I was a system, and then I was like, oh, witchcraft. Oh, advice to actually stay grounded and not get lost in the sauce again? Yeah, that sounds good to me. And these last few videos were very spaced out. And then we had the Christmas snacks one. And then by this point in the 2020, I just called it 2020. But I looked back at my 2020, talking about some of the things, and I swear, I feel, I haven't watched it in a very long time. And if I were to watch it, I might just sit there and go, oh no. Maybe not. Maybe we're not going to leave it up. But I just explain, like, hey, this is what happened. This is why I've been distant. And here's life. And I'm a system. And spirits and deities and witchcraft. And yeah, I'm not the person I thought I was, because that was right around the time that I realized that I was not who I thought I was in my system. And it's just very depressing. And I didn't do anything else for several months until this point, because I had to focus on my life once again, so there's another several month period where nothing's going on, but I opened this up with witchy stuff, talking about, hey, this is what I've been doing, this is where I've been at, and I want to come back. And then, now we've got answering questions from my followers on TikTok, now that I had finally started uploading to the witchy side of TikTok. So me and Dahlia cooperate to respond to Q&A questions, and oh boy, the editing could have been better. The audio isn't exactly aligned 100%, and it was a Q&A. I'll say that. And then in this video, I'm talking about witchy shit again, but then I'm just getting ready to move, and this was literally like a week before I was going to move. And then I moved, and this is the first video I made after that move, and the Ouija board that I have in the front of my altar, where you see the top of it in almost every one of these videos recently, I got that Ouija board for this particular video. And then there's more Christmas, and then I'm trying to come back, and I realize I gotta move, and everything sucks, and everything is fucked, and then the road so far, the history of this channel. And then I entered the Vanta War on TikTok, and I compiled those and put them onto, because Jakel, the character, I cosplayed the character on TikTok to join the Vanta War. And that's what this compilation is. And then this, oh my god. Wow, I feel like this is going on for far too long and I need to wrap it up. Even though it's only now that we're starting to get to recent time. So let's speedrun some things. Over on Witch Talk, there was a hashtag called Witch Talk Hates Broke People. So I went ahead and made a response video on here to that particular query. And this was even months after the fact that hashtag stopped trending, but I still felt the need to do it because I had promised it to my audience. And then I wanted to beta test orc vlogs because I remembered that this one up here was a lot of cool, so I wanted to do it again. And then I was sitting here and going down memory lane explaining why I call myself the world's worst YouTuber. And then we got Orc Vlog number 1, the reboot. And we got Orc Vlog number 1, which, good God. Wow, there's a lot of stuff that's fucked up in that in hindsight. So then we got Top of the Morning Coffee review. And then, did you know that there is a sequel to MySpace that's called Space Hay? Yeah, it's a clone, basically, of MySpace, and it's called Space Hay. Go check it out. Then me finally saying I'm leaving Witch Talk. And this was one of my most successful videos because I had a following on TikTok being a witchy content creator, and then I leave, and then I wound up with about 1,000 more subscribers so they could follow me here because I had every intention of not returning to Witch Talk because my complaints were valid and my complaints never really left. So I spent 42 minutes talking about the problems with Witch Talk, and a lot of what I'm talking about is the complaints about echo chambers and how nobody's able to see outside of their own purview, and the same points get bounced around far too frequently. And this is where a lot of my complaints and grievances actually started taking form, and those complaints never really left and still haven't. Now, the problem that followed after that was we got Orc Log number 2 talking about how, well, I left, and this is what it's like afterwards, but I'm still bringing that same TikTok energy. I'm doing what I was doing, but taking on the same topics. And then Orc Vlog number 2, where I'm talking about what about being a pagan vlogger? And then, oh my gosh, Orc Log. There's Vlog and Log, and then there's Orc Log number 3, and then responding to comments. I spent an hour responding to comments from my farewell video on TikTok. And then I found out I'm moving sooner than I expected, so I gotta hurry up and get out. And then that was right before I returned to Witch Talk, not because I wanted to, but because Aphrodite traipsed herself into my practice, and I talk about it in here where she's like, hey, why don't you go back to TikTok? And then, wouldn't you know it, I find out I'm gonna have to move really fucking soon, and then I just stop uploading for a while. And then this was right before the move, and I just talk about, like, it sucks being a witch talker, it sucks being a person of mixed race and ethnicity, and I relate far more with the doctor than anybody else, a fucking space alien who gets into a blue box that is actually a spaceship, who gets up and flies around, and I just want to come back to YouTube and we can fly away in my TARDIS together, and my TARDIS is this, and you will see it, and you will see through the camera, and I'm going to be the doctor, and I'm not even going to be a person anymore. Then right before I moved, I had a chat with my inner teen, where I'm still struggling with this, like, basically the main question is, I had a chat with my inner teen, and the question my inner teen posited to me was, when did you let spirituality become the only thing that matters? And then Jakel's homecoming. Shortly after I move, I'm in a new place,
And since I'm now in a new place, I want to get my shit together and just start being a YouTuber again. And then I get broken up with again, and then everything in my life is falling apart, and it feels like I'm not going to be able to be doing YouTube. And then, with all of the complaints that I already still had with Witch Talk, everything came together, and I decided to do the Deity series, which, as I said before, was a 2-month-long non-stop Deity interaction saga, where by the end of it, I wound up canceled and losing 8,000 followers on TikTok, and then for the next several months after that, people kept coming back to tell me that I'm going through psychosis, tell me that I'm crazy and that I'm delusional and all of this other stuff. Meanwhile, people that I don't know are talking about me, saying that I'm a dangerous person and I'm a scammer and all of this other shit. And you know what, honestly, I'm going to skip over this and just say I talk about it a little bit in My Liminal Hell, A Witch's Lament of 2022, where I talk about the factors that led up to me being fed up with everything and then doing the Deity series, and I heavily theme it after the motif of liminality, and I had a lot of fun with that one. So then I tried coming back to YouTube, and I got the IDGAF number 2, Breaking the Liminal Hell, because I was stuck in a liminal hell. Devil Mountain Coffee, Jakel's Homecoming again, because I tried coming back because I knew I was going to have to move in just a couple of months. And then in order to get back into the swing of things, I redid a few videos. Am I a Neckbeard? Redemption, where I just redid that Am I a Neckbeard video. Ghost, Spirits, and Demons, because I didn't like the way that I edited the reacting to it the original time, so I just went back and redid it. And then I re-reacted to Black Satan's The Mutilation of Christ. And then I started doing more. I'm fed up with Clock App, which I wound up fed up 1 year later, which was just a couple of months ago from this point. Dreams Within Occult Themes. That was a fun one where I talk a little bit about oneromancy and weird spiritual shit in dreams. And then Witchy Business, where I'm talking about why I don't want to open up a witchy shop in order to save myself, even though it would be beneficial. I don't want to be a witchy business person. I want to talk about witchcraft, not make it my livelihood. You're seeing a theme here, right? Where I don't want to be a witch talker, but I'm still doing it because it's the only way I'm getting by. Midnight Musings of an Insomniac, where I am about to move in about a month and a half. So with the first time around, back in 2023, when we were worried about the TikTok ban, I talk about it then, and I'm like, I'm pulling away from the witchy shit, and I'm not even really giving a shit. And I wouldn't make another video again for several months. And then I come back with Memento Mori. Because I was thinking about it in here, about how the entire TikTok being gone made me reflect on Unus Annus just suddenly being gone and how it kind of prepared me for that. And that if TikTok does get banned, I'm not going to back up any of my shit. I'm just going to move on. And having forgotten completely about that fact until much later, I did Memento Mori, which was a retrospective look on Unus Annus and its very video essay, and it's very much me in style. I think it's a good one. I don't think everybody else thought so. And then, hang on. Did we actually get 4 orc logs and vlogs? Because the reason it's orc vlog number 4, ... question mark, is because I wanted to tie off the orc log, orc vlog thing, and since they were both at number 4, there we go, right? That makes sense, right? And then I thought I was going to do more Christmas videos, and then I said, fuck it, what if I just say, to hell with everything, and just make occult content? And that's when I came to the intro to Hecate, where I made a video about Hecate. And then this was put up around Christmas, when it was supposed to go up right around here, around the Halloween time, but it got put on hold because I was burnt out and not feeling too good. And then, I'm not feeling good, Mr. Stark. TikTok in January. Once again, we got this one where I am upset and frustrated with TikTok, not too different from this one, where I'm fed up with Clock App. Finally, I get to the unreality of my 2023, another year in review video. Then we got Spubby, Occult Tea, Jakel reacts to Witch Talk has gone a bit too far, and then the last one, How Dare You, responding to the angry comments from this video. Yeah, I think we're caught up now.
And just a second here, and alright, so yeah,
that took a lot longer than I thought it would. I underestimated just how much content I already had. But with any luck, I hope you, if you're still here at this point, are kind of more familiar with like what I've been doing and what I was up to before I ever thought TikTok would ever be a part of my social media presence. And for whatever reason, I've been wanting to do a channel tour like this for some time. I just never thought the time was right. First of all, it's only been the last, 2 years at this point that I've had more than 100-something subscribers. And if nothing else, this will serve as an excellent reminder to me how far exactly I've come, and that some of my old stuff wasn't exactly terrible. But I've also been through a lot. And there are a lot of good reasons that I haven't been able to upload consistently. But I will at least be able to continue wearing the badge of honor that is the world's worst YouTuber. I fucking love that for no good reason. It's just the warm and fuzzy nostalgia. Also, if somebody else gets called the world's worst YouTuber, I can go ahead and say, no, fuck you. That's me. And to close this off, I want to thank everybody once again for all of the subscribers. 1,300 is a big number for me. Like I said, I genuinely did not know if I was ever going to get to this point, ever. So thank you. Like, I cannot actually put into words the emotional significance that it has. Because at several points, I genuinely was going to give up. But I don't think I'm gonna. Not today, at least. If you're still here, I want to thank you for listening. And until next time, take care and much love.
Characters and story fit into it. Do you love drawing your characters?